You know that feeling. Lying in bed at night, too hot to sleep, sheets sticking to your skin, pillow flipped to the cold side that stopped being cold 20 minutes ago, fan running at full speed, doing absolutely nothing. You check your phone, 2 a.m., and you think, this is unbearable. Now imagine that feeling without a fan, without air conditioning, without a cold drink in the refrigerator, without thin cotton sheets, without walls, without a roof. Just you in the African savanna in 50-degree heat radiating up from the earth beneath you long after the sun has gone down. This was not a bad night for ancient humans. This was simply every night. For 2 million years, our ancestors faced heat that would make your worst summer night feel like a cool autumn evening. And they didn't just survive it. They developed solutions so sophisticated, so psychologically clever, that modern sleep scientists are only now beginning to understand them. Stay with me. This is human theory. And tonight, we find out what ancient humans really did when it was too hot to sleep. Before we talk about solutions, we need to understand the problem, because the heat ancient humans faced was not the mild discomfort of a modern summer night. It was genuinely dangerous. The African savanna, where humans evolved for the vast majority of our existence, regularly reaches surface temperatures of 50 degrees Celsius or more during the day. And at night, the ground itself radiates stored heat back into the air for hours after sunset. Ancient humans had no shelter in the modern sense, no insulated walls, no sealed rooms, no air conditioning, no electric fans. They slept on the ground, or in shallow caves, or in simple structures made of branches and leaves that provided almost no temperature regulation. And yet, they slept every single night. For 2 million years, their bodies rested, their brains consolidated memories, their immune systems repaired, their muscles recovered, all in conditions that modern humans would consider completely incompatible with sleep. So how? The answer begins not with what ancient humans did at night, but with what they did during the day to prepare for the night. And the first thing they did will completely change how you think about heat management forever. Here is something most people never think about. The human body is one of the most sophisticated heat management systems ever evolved by any animal on Earth. And it was designed specifically for the African heat that ancient humans lived in. Humans are one of the only mammals capable of sweating efficiently enough to run down prey in extreme heat. While lions and leopards and hyenas were forced to rest in shade during the hottest hours of the day, ancient humans could keep moving. This is called persistence hunting. Ancient humans would simply follow an animal in the heat of the day at a slow, steady pace, hour after hour, until the animal collapsed for heat exhaustion, because the animal had to stop to regulate its temperature. The human did not. The human sweated and kept moving. This extraordinary cooling ability is directly connected to how ancient humans managed sleeping in extreme heat. Because a body that can regulate its own temperature this efficiently can also do something remarkable at night. It can use the environment itself as a cooling system. Ancient humans understood something about heat in the human body that most modern people have forgotten. Your body does not just respond to temperature. It anticipates it, prepares for it, actively manages it in ways you're completely unaware of. And ancient humans learned to work with this system in ways that are genuinely extraordinary. So what specifically did ancient humans do when it was too hot to sleep? Research on modern hunter-gatherer tribes, the Hadza of Tanzania, the San people of the Kalahari, the Aboriginal Australians, gives us our most direct window into how our ancient ancestors managed extreme night heat.
And what researchers found was a sophisticated system of environmental manipulation that modern sleep science is only beginning to appreciate. The first technique, wet earth sleeping. Ancient humans understood intuitively that the ground beneath them was both the source of the heat problem and the solution to it. During extreme heat nights, ancient people would pour water onto the earth where they planned to sleep. As the water evaporated, it drew heat away from the ground surface, creating a cooler sleeping patch in an otherwise blazing environment. The same principle is your body sweating, applied to the earth itself. The second technique, elevation. When the ground was too hot, ancient humans slept elevated, in trees, on platforms, on raised rock surfaces. Even small elevations above the ground, just 1 or 2 meters, dramatically increase exposure to ground-radiated heat and increase exposure to whatever cooling breeze was moving through the night air. But the third technique is the one that modern sleep scientists find most extraordinary because it reveals something about ancient human sleep that completely contradicts everything we think we know about how humans are supposed to sleep. Ancient humans did not sleep through the night.
Beyond sleep patterns, ancient humans developed specific physical techniques for managing extreme heat at night. Techniques so effective that modern outdoor survival experts recommend versions of them today. Water on the skin. Ancient humans living near water sources would wet their skin before attempting to sleep in heat. As the water evaporated throughout the night, it continuously drew heat away from the body surface. The same mechanism as sweating, but deliberately enhanced. This is called evaporative cooling, and it is the most efficient cooling mechanism available to the human body without mechanical assistance. Clay and mud application. Anthropological research on ancient African tribes documents the practice of applying wet clay or mud to the skin before sleeping in extreme heat. Clay holds moisture longer than water alone. It creates a sustained cooling effect that can last for hours. It also provides a physical barrier against insects, which are significantly more active in hot, humid conditions. Strategic positioning. Ancient humans understood the landscape around them with extraordinary intimacy. They knew which areas caught the night breeze, which rock formations stayed cooler after sunset, which trees provided the most effective shade during the hottest sleeping hours. This knowledge was not written down. It was passed down from generation to generation through lived experience, through the accumulated wisdom of thousands of years of sleeping in the same landscapes. And perhaps most fascinating of all, ancient humans understood something about the relationship between the body and sleep and heat that modern medicine is only now confirming. Your body temperature must drop to fall asleep, not by much, just 1 degree Celsius, but that drop is not optional. It is biological. It is mandatory. And ancient humans, without knowing the science, had developed every technique necessary to help that temperature drop happen, even when the world around them was blazing with heat. They cooled the ground they slept on. They cooled the air around them. They cooled their skin. They positioned themselves to catch whatever coolness the night offered. And then they let their ancient bodies do what 2 million years of evolution had prepared them to do: sleep. So what does all of this mean for you tonight when it is too hot to sleep? The ancient solutions are remarkably applicable to modern life, and they work better than most people realize. Ancient Lesson 1. Cool your body before bed, not your room. Modern people turn on air conditioning and try to cool the entire room. Ancient humans cooled their bodies directly. Wet your wrists, neck, and ankles before sleeping. These areas have major blood vessels close to the skin surface. Cooling them cools your blood. Cooling your blood cools your core. More effective than any fan aimed at the ceiling. Ancient Lesson 2. Sleep in phases, not one long block. If heat wakes you in the night, stop fighting it. Get up. Move to the coolest part of your home. Sit quietly for an hour.
Do something calm and undemanding, then return to sleep when your body temperature has naturally dropped. You are not experiencing insomnia, you are experiencing the ancient sleep pattern your body was designed for. Ancient Lesson 3. Use the Earth's timing. The coolest point of any night is just before dawn, between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. Ancient humans timed their second sleep to coincide with this natural cooling window. If you are struggling with heat sleep, try going to bed later and waking later. Align your sleep with the actual temperature cycle of the night, not the artificial schedule that modern life imposes. Ancient Lesson 4. The tribe matters. Ancient humans never slept alone in the heat. The psychological comfort of sleeping near other people actually reduces the body's stress response, and a lower stress response means lower core temperature, which means better sleep in the heat. The single most important thing ancient humans understood about sleeping in heat was not a technique, it was not a technology, it was an attitude. They did not fight the heat, they worked with it. They moved through the night in rhythm with it. They adjusted their patterns to accommodate it. They trusted their bodies to manage what their bodies had been managing for 2 million years, and their bodies did not let them down. Somewhere in the ancient world, an ancestor of yours lay down on earth that was still warm from the day's blazing sun. They were tired, their muscles ached from hours of hunting and gathering and surviving, but the heat refused to release them into sleep. So they did what their people had always done. They poured water on the ground. They positioned themselves to catch the night breeze. They lay close to their tribe, and they waited. Not with frustration, not with anxiety, not checking any device, just with patience, the patience of a species that had survived every climate, every season, every extreme that this planet had ever thrown at them. And slowly, as the night deepened, as the earth released its heat back into the dark sky, their body temperature dropped 1 degree, just 1 degree, and sleep came. Not 8 uninterrupted hours of modern manufactured rest, but ancient, real, earned sleep, the kind that repairs, the kind that restores, the kind that prepared them for everything tomorrow would bring. Tonight, when the heat keeps you awake, remember that you carry 2 million years of survival in every cell of your body. You were built for this. Trust the ancient system. This is human theory. If this changes how you sleep tonight, share it with someone who is lying awake in the heat right now. For most of human history, nobody slept 8 hours straight. The idea of one long, continuous block of sleep every night is not ancient. It is modern. It is industrial. It was created by artificial light, factory work schedules, and the alarm clock. Ancient humans practiced what researchers call biphasic sleep, 2 separate sleep periods within each 24-hour cycle. The first sleep began at sunset, roughly 2 to 4 hours of deep restorative sleep during the coolest part of the early night. Then, an awakening for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night. During this waking period, ancient humans were not frustrated. They were not anxious. They did not check their phones or lie awake worrying. They talked quietly with tribe members. They tended the fire. They looked at stars. They had sex. They moved gently through the cool night air. They took advantage of whatever cooling breeze the night provided. And then, a second sleep, from roughly the middle of the night until just before dawn. Historian Roger Eckertz spent 20 years researching pre-industrial human sleep patterns. His conclusion was revolutionary. He found references to first sleep and second sleep in hundreds of historical documents, from ancient texts to medieval records. Biphasic sleep was not unusual. It was the human norm for essentially our entire existence on this planet. And here is what this means for surviving extreme heat. The wakeful period in the middle of the night coincides almost perfectly with the coolest point of any given night. Ancient humans were not awake in the hottest part of the night. They had already slept through it. They woke up when the temperature dropped, moved around, cooled their bodies, and then slept again as the pre-dawn air reached its lowest temperature. It was not accidental. It was not random. It was a perfectly calibrated biological sleep system designed for the exact environment ancient humans lived in. A system that modern sleep medicine is now recognizing is perhaps healthier than the 8-hour block we have been told is normal. But managing heat was only one part of the ancient sleep challenge, because sleeping in extreme heat created a psychological problem that went far beyond discomfort. It created vulnerability. A sleeping human cannot watch for predators, cannot defend against attack, cannot respond to danger. And in the ancient world, the dangers that came with darkness and heat were very real. Predators were more active during cooler night hours. Rival tribes moved under cover of darkness. The heat itself could become dangerous enough to kill if the body temperature rose too high during sleep. So ancient humans developed a sleep psychology that modern humans have almost entirely lost: layered sleep vigilance. In any ancient sleeping group, not everyone slept at the same depth at the same time. Some individuals slept deeply, while others maintained a lighter, watchful state. This was not consciously organized like a military guard rotation. It emerged naturally from the biological variation in sleep patterns within any group. Some people naturally sleep lightly. Some naturally wake frequently. Some are naturally alert to sound. In modern life, these people are told they have sleep disorders. They are medicated. They are told something is wrong with them. But researchers studying evolutionary biology now argue that these sleep variations were not disorders. They were features, deliberately maintained by natural selection, because groups that had varied sleep patterns, with some members always in a lighter sleep state, survived better than groups where everyone slept deeply at the same time. Ancient humans didn't just sleep beside each other for warmth. They slept beside each other because together their varied sleep patterns created a collective vigilance system that no individual could maintain alone. The tribe was the alarm system, and in extreme heat, when sleep was already lighter and more disrupted, this collective vigilance became even more important because the heat that kept them awake also kept them alive.